He's a simple guy who loves a good movie, but his favorite kind of film is the kind that really pulls you in. Today, we're talking all about the pink cape wonder himself, Viewtiful Joe. Get ready for Hero Unlocked. Henshin a go-go, baby. Considered a cult hit, Viewtiful Joe was released in 2003. This title was developed as part of a group of games known as the Capcom 5. The Capcom 5 were actually a group of games intended to find a home exclusively on the Nintendo GameCube. These games being Product Number 3, Dead Phoenix, Resident Evil 4, Killer 7, and of course, Viewtiful Joe. Viewtiful Joe itself was developed by Team Viewtiful and was directed by Hideki Kamiya. Kamiya was also the mind who helped bring us games like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, and The Wonderful 101. Completed in a little under 2 years, the game aimed to unite the concepts of Western comic books and tokusatsu. Tokusatsu is simply the type of film or TV show that uses a ton of special effects. Things like Godzilla and Power Rangers would be examples of this. While initially intended to be a GameCube exclusive, it eventually did go to the PlayStation 2, and despite having moderate sales, the game managed to garner quite the following and inspire the creation of a second title.
I love Joe. I mean, just look at him. He's the perfect guy. He loves movies, he's shredded, and most of all, he knows how to accessorize.
I mean, what more could you want? Plus, Homeboy is like poop but nothing, so you can just throw him in your purse and you're ready to go.
Viewtiful Joe 2, also known as Viewtiful Joe 2 Secret of the Black Film in Japan, was released in 2004. This title was developed once again by Team Viewtiful under Clover Studio. However, in this title, both Joe and his girlfriend Sylvia were playable. The first game in this franchise was said to be a bit too difficult for some audiences, so when developing the sequel, they took this into account. The game's producer Atsushi Inaba said that the team wanted to make sure that the second game would be both approachable to newcomers and people who enjoy a challenge. What's more, this time around, the game would be developed for the GameCube and PlayStation 2 at the same time. In the previous title, Joe had several VFX powers. These were the abilities to slow and fast-forward time, as well as zooming in. In Viewtiful Joe 2, the replay VFX power was added. This new ability was the only one added to the game, as Inaba had stated that there weren't enough buttons on the available controllers to add more. What's more, in early promotion for the game, Joe and Sylvia were actually shown to be playable at the same time. This could have been some sort of hint at multiplayer that was going to be part of the second game, but it is possible that the idea was scrapped somewhere along the way. There were two spin-off titles in the Viewtiful Joe franchise, Viewtiful Joe Red Hot Rumble and Viewtiful Joe Double Trouble. The first of these titles, Viewtiful Joe Red Hot Rumble, was released in September of 2005 for the Nintendo GameCube and PlayStation Portable. This game was a pretty soft derivation from the original series. In Red Hot Rumble, the player would take on missions as opposed to following a series of stages through a story. Naba actually stated that the game's premise was actually thought up because of Super Smash Bros. Melee, and this can actually be seen in some of the gameplay. Another interesting gameplay element is the multiplayer capability. Story-wise, the game actually followed the short-lived Viewtiful Joe anime. Viewtiful Joe Double Trouble was also released in 2005 here in the States. This game was only released on the Nintendo DS, however. The Nintendo DS's screen played a large part in how the game controlled and how the player would solve certain puzzles within the game. This game also introduced Joe's sister, Jasmine, to the playable franchise, although she is only there more as a support character. Viewtiful Joe's lore is a bit odd, but I mean, that's to be expected seeing as to how these are the same people who brought us Devil May Cry's lore. So the world of Viewtiful Joe takes place in two planes, the real world and movie land. One day, Joe decides to go see a movie featuring his hero, Captain Blue. During that movie, however, the film's villain reaches out of the screen and grabs Joe's girlfriend, Sylvia, bringing her into movie land. And then Joe is brought in as well. In order to help Joe save Sylvia, Captain Blue hands Joe a V-Watch, which allows him to transform into a superhero. All he has to say is the word Henshin, but that's not obviously good enough because this is where we get Joe's signature line, Henshin a go-go, baby. Joe then fights through the many layers of Jado, the evil corporation responsible for taking his girlfriend. And this is where it takes a bit of a turn. You see, Captain Blue was revealed to be the one behind all of this to begin with. Blue turns out to actually be Sylvia's long-lost father. He was once a successful filmmaker, but after his fame faded, he became jaded. He got sucked into the movies he had created and plotted his revenge against the public that had spurned him. Once stopped by Joe, he thanks him for stopping his evil plot, and Blue gives Sylvia a V-Watch, and the two head out to stop the rest of the chaos in Movie Land. In the second title, the pair must save Movie Land from the alien force known as Jido. Creative, huh? At the beginning of the game, Captain Blue is turned into a Rainbow Oscar, this being one of 7 the pair must collect over the course of the game. Naturally, Joe's father, Jet, strolls into the theater from the first game and helps them through the title by switching out film reels so that Joe and Sylvia can progress to the next stage. During a later battle, Joe and Sylvia defeat the Black Emperor, the leader, and obtain the 7th Oscar, only to have it stolen by Jet. Jet then reveals that he himself has a V-Watch and transforms into Jet Black, because of course he does. So yeah, there's some old Star Wars nonsense going on. After Jet is defeated, Captain Blue's return to normal and explains how Jet was once an old colleague of his and how Jet's mind was altered by the black film and the Rainbow Oscars. This is then followed by a setup for a third game that we kinda sorta got, but not really, at least in the traditional sense.
So the first Viewtiful Joe game has some pretty sick boss fights, but have you noticed that a vast majority are with animals? There's a bat, a lion, a rhino, and a shark.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do you know can say that they beat up a land shark with their bare hands? I don't think Peter would like this game very much.
Viewtiful Joe is a testament to the idea that just because a game is good does not mean that it will translate to sales. Unfortunately, this has been the case for pretty much all of Viewtiful Joe's games. Critically, the main games have been viewed very positively, but it simply couldn't gain a foothold on any platform it was featured on. Capcom is yet to throw this character away, however. Viewtiful Joe is a regular character in the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 series. Viewtiful Joe even got a TV series of the same name. Now about that TV show. Viewtiful Joe the TV show released during October of 2004 in Japan. The show ran for 51 episodes in total. The show did eventually make its way to the United States and aired on Kids WB. The show itself loosely followed the events of the first game, at least the beginning. Several elements were altered in the American release as well. The name Sexy Sylvia, as she's known in the games, is changed to Go-Go Sylvia in the American dub. Another edit was that Joe's signature vehicle, the Six Machine, was renamed the Machine 6. This was due to the original phrase intentionally sounding like Sex Machine. Seeing as to how this show was for children, this may have been the motivation for the change, and by may, I mean definitely. Kamiya has since expressed interest in taking another whack at the franchise, and this would be extremely welcome. To be honest, I don't see this not happening to some degree.
If I were to get sucked into a movie, I think I'd want it to be National Treasure too.
What? Why?
I don't know. I feel like it's my responsibility to let Nicolas Cage know of all the terrible decisions he's made after that movie.
Capcom is currently in a state of remastering and revisiting older franchises. We are currently looking at a new Mega Man, we have a remastered collection of the original Phoenix Wright games, and even Resident Evil 2 has a remake. But let's take it a bit further down the video game conspiracy rabbit hole. Let's look at Hideki Kamiya's resume. We have the aforementioned Resident Evil 2, and then there's Devil May Cry, which is getting a 5th installment. Okami recently got a re-release, and Bayonetta 3 is right on the horizon. It seems as though it's high time for a new Viewtiful Joe game. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see a new game announced sometime in the next few years. Here's to hoping. And thanks for watching.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you like and comment down below.
And if you'd like to see videos just like this one, make sure to subscribe because we do this every week. Stay perfect.